Hello everybody and welcome to the Escapist. Instead of listening to this idiot talk, you're gonna listen to this idiot talk. Yes, we're going to do a completely different style this video around, and you will not have to watch the 3.5 hours that I'm going to have to edit. You are going to watch the maybe 30 minutes. Oh my god, I wasted so much of my time. After putting a thought into my character's name, I decide that's right, we're going to be an Ivan. Why are we going to be an Ivan? I have absolutely no idea, but we are going to be a Russian escaping this prison. After setting up my character with the absolute most Russian-looking characteristics as possible, however, skipping out on the fur hat, because let's be honest, nobody actually likes looking at those things. However, what they do like to look at is a Russian man in a fedora. However, I could not find a fedora, so I keep the most Russian hair I could literally possibly have with the Russian goatee. After creating my character, I soon realized that that was completely unnecessary because, that's right, Ivan's not here. I then decide on our boy, Clyde, because, let's be honest, look at him. Well, I mean, you can't look at him because this guy is going to blab on. Literally for way too long, this guy gives you a tour of the prison. Now, as this man is giving me a tour of the prison, I also get a tour of the facilities that I will be escaping. But more importantly, arguably, he shows me where I can get strength and where I can read and be, I don't know, smart or something. I don't know who he thinks he's talking to. Coming here, as I said, he shows us the strength and our speed, how we can build it, and how to get a job. Now, as the title is going to show, I am literally going to be the most useless human being in this prison as possible. With the film crew being here and me having an idea how to escape with the film crew, I immediately ignore the film crew at all times. And now for the most important part of this interaction, this man who looks like he broke into the prison to be homeless. Seriously, look at that face. Anyway, he tells me his plan to escape and how he's going to do it. This will be important. This will be on a test. Remember this. Anyway, after quickly catching back up and being brought to my cell, the game begins. After immediately going to a man to buy contraband, and also I'm not going to take advantage of this whatsoever. Stopping this man to go to roll call was my idea, but since that didn't work out, I quickly decided I should probably show up to roll call. Since if you do not show up to roll call, well, the prison immediately goes on lockdown, and you will be found and put in solitary confinement peeling potatoes, which I do a lot. And after roll call, there was breakfast, but skipping over that, which there was a fight, I begin a habit that is going to be quite persistent through the video. Theft. Yes, I'm going to now go into multiple desks that do not belong to me and take out extremely valuable items. I do this way too much. This is also an extremely vital way of me escaping, and also a good way to get shanked. Because literally nobody likes that I do this. Now that never happens, but I wouldn't doubt if it eventually does. Now to do something that I don't know how to do, read. Now I read because earlier I discovered the crafting menu, which apparently you need to be smart to use because certain intelligence levels limits what you can craft. Now, deciding I probably need to be somewhat high intelligence, I go and start reading books because I need to craft things. Not realizing that this would be a mini game, it's not actually half bad and it is pretty easy. However, it does eat up your energy, which is convenient because it's about to be lunchtime. After missing lunch, I decide I do still definitely need energy, so I decide to go outside and rest on a lawn chair next to a grill with an open fire. Yeah, this is probably a great idea to have around inmates. As you can also notice, I have half a star on the right side of my screen. Now, the reason I have that star is because I missed lunch. Whenever your character misses an activity, they immediately gain half of a star, and this raises security. If you get to 2 stars, I believe it brings dogs out to patrol the area. The more stars you have, the more guards, the more dogs, the more security, until it eventually just becomes a lockdown. This is meant to keep you on some kind of schedule so you can't just be constantly digging a hole. After talking to another inmate, I decide to accept a favor. Now, this favor includes me beating somebody up, which, I mean, sure, why not? However, the way this is done is slightly questionable, as my tasks are to get a baseball bat, get the nails, and a roll of duct tape, which are all marked on the map. And the reason I do all of this is, well, I might be crafting something. Let's just say that. Yeah, so the thing I'm crafting is literally a baseball bat with nails coming out of it. After completing this craft and also having to read more books in order to craft it, and sleeping and reading more books, however, I'm not going to make you watch that. Once again, sleeping, again by an open fire, which again probably shouldn't be in a prison. However, I digress. Man, like, especially next to all, like, that grass and everything, like, this is a bad, like, this is a disaster waiting to happen. I mean, I guess it's enclosed and everything. You know whatever. We need to get on with the point. After crafting this, I decided to get up from my nap and go over to find Chip with the super baseball bat. Okay, who decided the name on that one? Wow. After running around the prison and trying to find him, and still trying to find him, I decide I'm going to go into my own desk for some reason, but I am going to hide some of my own contraband. Now, this is a good idea because, well, I'm about to beat somebody up, which I realize is why I went to my desk to hide my contraband. After finding the person literally right next to high security, I decide to mischip with the swing of might, I guess. Hide the bat, sit down, sit back up, and then go to my settings for some reason. And I realize I have to go to my settings because I forgot how to lock onto people. Locking onto people makes combat a million times easier. So, once finding that button, painstakingly long to find that button, I do find it eventually after clicking a couple more buttons to figure it out, and some more buttons, and some more buttons, and still clicking buttons, going into chat, and I finally figure out the locking button. I then take my baseball bat and start swinging on him. Once knocking him out, I realize security doesn't even notice, and I might be able to keep the bat. After opening a chest, I find a file. And this is extremely important that no, I did not find a pedophile, first of all, but this is extremely important because I figure out how I'm gonna escape from here. Now, also, almost leaving, doing a couple laps, and then leaving. I don't quite realize it yet. However, this file and that gate is going to be my key to freedom. Instead of doing the quest log with this guy, which, yes, I have been doing multiple quest logs, just digging a hole. Not really, quite honestly. I haven't done any work for this guy. However, I have got a lot of money. That file and that fence is going to be my path to freedom. After finally figuring out what I'm going to do, well, actually, I knew what I was going to do for quite some time, and I knew when I said I didn't know, but this is my plan. After also not realizing that that tower was literally going to shoot me, and yes, as you can see, there was a hole there, since that was the quest line that I was doing, I only got 34% down to my file. Now, that's extremely important because that means I did not use it to its fullest extent. However, I have escaped. Now, I know you might see this and say, no, you did not. However, what I'm about to cut out is extremely important as I go cell to cell stealing a lot of files. And I go stealing these files and using it on this one fence. Now, are you ready for some intense gameplay? This is the most intense gameplay you'll ever see, and also most of my gameplay. It's cutting or peeling potatoes. Now, this does get rid of my time on my solitary confinement, but it does drain my energy, which isn't too hard to get back since I can just sleep now for my escape. Now was the time to escape. During this time, I literally got shot 1,000 times. I think I had permanent brain damage, and also I was once put in solitary confinement and let go during night, which immediately meant we got put right back down on lockdown because one of the guards saw me. Literally got put in solitary confinement for being let out of solitary confinement. Anyway, after almost being ratted out by a camera crew, I make my escape after filing that thing forever. But I have done it. I have escaped. I only crafted 3 items. I did knock out 1 person, and I did 3 favors, also destroying 5 tiles. Took me 3 days to get out of that prison. Not too bad, quite honestly. This next prison went by fairly quickly as well, as this prison was literally a train. Next prison, well, the first thing I did was get out of my cell and immediately get beat up because I didn't realize that's what this one was going to be like. However, I do see a horse try to escape and realize I need a carrot to escape. After doing Ring Around the Rosie with this guard and realizing I'm probably just going to get cut anyway, I continue to play Ring Around the Rosie, but also try to beat him up after getting beat up myself. I quickly get up, and assuming I'm gonna go to solitary confinement, I realize I'm gonna be picking potatoes. However, what comes next is fairly surprising, quite honestly. I get picked up, run to my cell, and just dropped off. No potatoes, no hassle, absolutely nothing. However, I do have a time limit, so I do immediately get up without healing whatsoever and start investigating the train further. Now, I'm not going to bore you with all the details. However, I did sneak around the train finding multiple markers and some pieces of paper, meaning I immediately made a fake carrot and got a horse to escape. Now, please do enjoy this amazing graphic and amazing cartoon, quite honestly. That was made. Well, how do you make horses stop? That's a great question. He doesn't know. So, what happens? Well, we escape the prison. That's what happens. Now, we only crafted an item and knocked 1 person out, which, I mean, we did escape fairly quickly. We then move on to the next and last prison, which also took me the rest of the recording time. That's right. This prison took me almost 3 hours to complete, mostly because I'm stupid and don't know what I'm doing. However, 3 hours of pain and suffering for me is gonna be 10 seconds for you. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna make you suffer more than 10 seconds with me. So, welcome to the next bit of this video. The longest bit of this video. Probably not, however, it was the longest to record and the most painful to record. Once again, we go with my boy Clyde, and immediately, this is another Wild West prison. We load in and we start a trend that will go on this entire prison. Searching desks. That's right, I literally take so long to get out of this prison that the shops close and I can't even use the shops. I also rob people so many times that it's impossible to even have a good reputation at this point. However, I do see these metal detectors. Now, I'm not even going to show you the point of these because, as you could guess, they detect metal. Well, you would be completely incorrect if you would assume Oh, wow. You would be completely incorrect if you assumed that they detect metal. No, 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 no. Somehow these things just detect contraband. That's right. A toothbrush is not technically contraband. However, if you bring a log, a stick, or a handle, or any other contraband, it will immediately be detected, metal or not. Now, that is what caught me off guard, quite honestly, because, well, I didn't know we had wood detectors just laying around in Wild West prisons. Either way, this was going to be something that was very annoying, and what I thought was going to be a big setback, saying that yes, I got caught with a shovel by one of these metal detectors. Now, that doesn't really matter, because that's not how I end up escaping. However, it was extremely frustrating at the time. Now, please enjoy the pain and suffering. Now, again, I said I wasn't going to bore you with a lot of these things. Well, at this point, I was absolutely so tired of playing this game, and it was 3 a.m. And yes, I'm sleeping on a sheetless bed with my sheet on the side. I do decide if these two logs detect me, I'm just going to be done. Well, of course, since they were contraband, they detected me, beat me up, and by the way, there are sniper towers outside of everywhere, since it is an outside prison, and I do immediately just get shot. Yeah, I just get shot. So that concludes this absolute treachery of 3 a.m. game. That's right, we're not done. After loading up the game, for the second time. The next day, thank God. This is going to be the day we escape. Now, the first hour of this, yes, this is another hour and 15 minutes of gameplay, is me literally running around searching desks, and I'm not going to make you watch all this. In fact, I'm going to skip to the point of escape, where I decide I'm going to go in a shed, which is extremely close to a mine that I found earlier, and escape through the mine using another shovel to dig through a little bit more dirt, and then finding a pickaxe off of the ground, and mining the rest of my way out. Now I'm just going to skip to that, and then I will show you the absolute cartoon that these people created for the escape screen, which I appreciate very much. Now, after finally escaping all of that, what do we do now? Well, we're going to finish mining. Seriously, I had to get a shovel, dig another hole, dig more holes, build 3 more shovels, dig 3 more holes, find a pickaxe, and dig through this. Now, finally, freedom. I have to break another pickaxe and then another shovel as well. And yeah, this takes us another second. And do I run out of energy? Well, let's see. No, I don't. Actually, I actually do find my way to freedom. And finally escaping, giving me this absolute marvel. And you can see, finally, 8 days it took to escape this prison. However, finally, after forever, I did it. And no, I'm not doing another prison after that. I'm good. I'm good. After finally finishing that one, that concludes the end of this video. I hope you enjoy this new style that I'm going to try to do. I did want to try something a little different with adding my own little sound cues and everything. However, I figured I should try something like this first and try to get this in sections because, well, as you can see, from not just the editing itself, but also my microphone also. Less so my microphone and more so me just being an idiot, absolutely topping it out at times. I might try next time on a smaller video, maybe a 20-minute recording, to do some more heavier editing. However, this was 3.5 hours. Actually, yes, it was 3.5 hours of recording, and I quite honestly just do not feel like doing 3.5 hours of editing. This did still take some time. However, I did shorten a 3.5 hour video down to a 20-minute video. So I do hope you enjoyed this new style. If this video performs well and I get positive feedback, I will continue to do this style and I will even try the other style. So thank you very much for watching and I'll see you in the next one.